Okay, so we need to apply what we learned just a little bit ago about classifying angles, and the way we're going to do this is through this diagram number 2. So we want to use the diagram in order to find the measure of the indicated angle. So this first one that we're going to do is angle KHJ. So we'll look at this angle right here, KHJ is what we're looking at, and we're just going to measure it. And notice that they do have the line on the 0 mark. You have to have that when you're measuring angles, otherwise you're not going to get the right angle. And then we're trying to look where the other ray comes through and meets the protractor. Now in this case, notice that we're going to use the inside of the angles. Sometimes you'll use the inside, sometimes you use the outside, depending on what type of angle you're actually looking at. Well, in this one, we want the smaller one because we have an angle that is not very big, so it's going to have a degree range less than 90. So in this case, we look at it and it goes, and I'm looking at this point right here, and that point is halfway between 50 and 60, and therefore we have an angle of 55 degrees. So my measure of angle KHJ equals 55 degrees. Okay, so let's look at the next example. Okay, so let's look at the next one, angle GHK. So we have here GHK. Notice that now we are dealing with an angle that's greater than 90 degrees, and I forgot to do that in the first one. We had an angle that was less than 90 degrees, so what type of angle did we have? So I need to go back here and put acute. So acute is less than 90 if we look at our angle measures that you guys created and have. So go back to B. So GHK, we have an angle greater than 90 degrees. And then we're using the top row of numbers because of the fact that we have the angle greater than 90. In this case, it's between 120 and 130, and it's right on that dash, so therefore we have an angle of 125 degrees. So we'll go ahead and write in a measure of angle GHK equals 125 degrees. And then if it's greater, or this angle is 125, look at your four angles that we created, and it would fall into which category? Hopefully you said obtuse. So let's look at our next angle, GHJ. So G, H, and then J. We're going straight across. So we don't even need to really do much because we know it's a line. Therefore, our measure of angle GHJ equals 180 degrees, and it is a straight angle. We have one more angle we're going to look at, and that is going to be our GHL. And GHL, go ahead and make this GHL go straight up. Well, that's nice. So we have the measure of angle GHL equaling 90 degrees, and therefore it is a right angle. Okay, we're going to do a little guided practice, and I want you to name all the angles in the diagram and then which one is a right angle. So please go ahead and do that, and then pause the video and then look at the answer in just a second. Okay, hopefully you paused it, and then these are your three angles: angle PQS, angle RQS, angle PQR, and then a right angle is angle PQS. Okay, postulate 4, remember, write this in on your postulate sheet. So postulate 4, angle addition postulate. If P is the interior of angle RST, then the measure of angle RST is equal to the sum of the measures of RSP and angle PST. So let's go ahead and we're going to do a little bit off to the side just to create this so you can see what this is actually looking at, and then we'll go on from that point. So we have a angle here. Make this fairly big so you can see. And we have a ray here with point P, and we have ray R, S, I believe T. And then basically what it's saying, if we have an angle RST, so what we have here, R, S, and T, and that angle is bisected by, or has a ray going through it, then angle RSP plus PST is going to equal RST. So our two smaller angles in here are going to equal our bigger angle, which means that this right here is equal to this right here. And I'm using two lines. You could use one line to signify that they're equal, or you can put three. As long as they have the same number of lines, that means that the measure of that angle is equal. And sometimes people, instead of using those lines like I did, they might do something like this. They might say this angle equals this angle as well. And then we could say measure of angle RSP, measure angle PST. So what I'm really saying is, like segment addition, we're going to write angular addition in the same way, where we have the measure of angle RST equals the measure of angle RSP plus the measure of angle PST. So now we can go ahead and answer example number 3. Given that the measure of angle LKN, so LKN is over here, LKN, the measure of LKN is 145 degrees, find the measure of LKM and measure of MKL. So we're going to do this just like our segment addition. We're going to start with the big angle, which is represented up here. So we have this, we're going to start with that, and that equals 145 degrees. So we say 145 degrees equals, and then my two smaller angles, the measure of LKM and measure of MKL. So then we're going to take the first one, this would be LKM, or the measure of LKM, which is 2x plus 10. Add, so plus the measure of angle PST, or in this case, sorry, is this, which is measure of MKN, which is right here, which is 4x minus 3. And then now we can go ahead and solve, these are each degrees, we can solve for this problem. So if I take the 10 and the negative 3, put them together, I'm going to get a positive 7 over here. So to undo addition, we must do subtraction. So we'll minus 7 from both sides. So we get 138 degrees equals my 2x plus 4x, which is 6x. So now if I take 138 and divide it by 6, I should get that x equals 23. So this is my, so far I'm at this point type of thing. Now I need to go ahead and sub these back in because they want the measure of each of these angles. So we need to sub each of these back in. So the measure, let's put it up. You can write it where off to the side, but where you're at. So the measure of angle LKN, this one over here, LKN, which is 2x plus 10 degrees, we sub x in, x is 23, so we get 2 times 23 plus 10, well 2 times 23 is 46, 46 plus 10 gives us 56, so 56 degrees is MKL, so measure of angle, LKN equals 56 degrees. And then let's go ahead and quickly do the last one. We need to find the measure of angle MKN, and then this is the 4x minus 3. So our 4x minus 3, sub in for x is 23. We get 4 times 23 minus 3. 4 times 23 is 8292 minus 3, which gives us 89 degrees. So 89 and 56. And if we write it in the same form, we'd have measure of angle MKN equals that 89 degrees.